Well, hello and welcome to the Power of Your Mind podcast. I'm Victoria Gallagher, your host, and I'm here to inspire you to tap into the incredible power of your mind by helping you to understand law of attraction, manifestation, hypnosis, affirmations, meditation, and all kinds of other powerful tools, all designed to rewire your mindset and take you toward success. You are listening to episode number 372. Today, we're going to be talking about flow dreaming for manifestation with McStravick. McStravick, I pronounced that right. Before we begin, just a quick reminder to make sure that you subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast on your favorite platform so that you never miss an episode, because every episode is another opportunity for you to get inspired and transform your life. If you're getting value out of listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast, please support our show by leaving a review, sharing the podcast with someone who could use a little inspiration, or by downloading and subscribing to my Believe Hypnosis app. If you're new to the show and you're new to me, let me just introduce myself. I am a best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction and several other books. I've been a hypnotherapist for the past 25 years, a digital and course creator, an inspirational speaker, and an entrepreneur. And I specialize in helping people, especially business professionals, entrepreneurs, hypnotists, coaches, to use the power of their minds to manifest success through practical strategies, including the law of attraction. As the creator of the Believe Hypnosis app, that is something that is designed to also further your understanding of hypnotherapy and manifestation. And my mission is really to help you manifest your dreams by making hypnotherapy accessible to everyone. So be sure to download the Believe Hypnosis app, which gives you access to over 1,000 hypnosis sessions, all designed to help you achieve your dreams and your goals. Now, let's get into today's episode, number 372, Flow Dreaming for Manifestation with Summer McStravick. So, Summer has been practicing flow dreaming, which right now we don't have a definition for that. I'm excited to dive into what this is all about, but it's a technique for almost a surreal level. I love that word, surreal level of manifesting and powerful inner healing. And she accidentally pioneered this about 25 years ago. She's part woo woo, part science, part mom, part rebel, part artist, and part CEO. And her signature technique, flow dreaming, is an energy activation for manifesting, healing, and growing inner emotional strength. Her books and podcasts have been used worldwide to transform people's inner emotional landscapes as well as their external lives. And her latest book is called Stuff Nobody Taught You: 40 Lessons from Me School to help you stop being miserable and start feeling amazing. And previously, Summer worked for Louise Hay for a decade and created Hay House Radio. So that's pretty cool. And so you can find her at flowdreaming.com. Pretty much easy to spell, right? Flowdreaming.com. Or you can find her through her podcast, Flow Dreaming. And you can also visit her on YouTube, Flow Dreaming Summer McStravick, and her podcast, Still Kind of Woo Woo. Flow dreaming, still kind of woo woo. All right. So today, Summer is going to be sharing with us the magic that is flow dreaming, how this can help you to release from anything that you're dealing with, trauma, healing, and it's going to help you to manifest everything on your heart by looking within, knowing yourself. You're going to be able to unlock a deep part of you that is ready for all the good things. So now's the time to lean into peace and transform your life. Welcome to the show, Summer.
Thank you, Victoria. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. I was like looking at my podcast agenda for today and who I had on the list, and I was so excited because this is such a inspiring topic. I love talking about manifesting and different techniques and strategies and things that, just different spins and things I haven't actually heard of before because, you and I, we've been in this business for the quarter of a century now, helping
Oh,
people.
yeah, yeah.
To transform their lives. And obviously, with the relationship with Louise Hay that you've had, you've, been obviously an authority and a pioneer in some of this topic on manifestation. So I'm excited to have this conversation. So tell us where you got your start. Just tell us where did this all start?
Oh gosh, there's so many starts. How do I pick? How do I pick one? We'll go back about 25 years ago. I was considerably younger in a whole different career at that point. And I was in the world of publishing, and I had my own little literary magazine in San Diego, California. And because I have grown up in a family, a line of people who have been intuitive practitioners, healers, astrologers, just multiple generations. Of course, I said at one point, I really need to manifest the success around this magazine. I mean, this has to happen. So I pulled the tools that we had at the time. And if you remember back then, we had things like creative visualization. We had, of course, affirmations. Um, there were a lot of ways of very clearly defining what we wanted to create.
Mhm.
But the one thing that I didn't ever really get was, but how do I know that I've been heard? How do I
Mm.
know that what I'm doing is actually making a difference as opposed to me just kind of doing a different form of begging? So,
Let me ask this way. Okay, that didn't work. Let me ask this
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Let
Do
me
I
write it
deserve
down. Let me
this
chant
yet?
it. Yes.
Yeah, is this in my fate? Is this in my karma? Is this in my, and so I'll make a very long story short, but I was practicing with my mom one day, and we were doing a kind of manifesting practice together, and we both discovered that we were feeling something different than we had felt before. It was like we looked around, and the way this looked in practical real life is I'm on the phone, she's on the phone about an hour away from me. I'm crying and sobbing. I'm losing all my money on this business that's going under. I have to make this work, please. We have to talk to God right now. So we kind of talked ourselves into, all right, this is what's happening, kind of a combination of manifesting, I mean, affirmations and so on. And then we both paused at a certain point and said, do you see what I see? And because we do work in this world, we're kind of used to going out there and communicating. And I said, I don't know what I'm seeing. This place feels different and strange. This place feels unique. I feel like whatever I do here is going to be very, very, very potent, and that I'm actually being seen and heard right now. And that was a real game changer for me. And after that, I really worked to discover, where did I go? And I went through all the old stuff, the Akashic records, all the different astral planes. I mean, I did all that. And I thought, I'm kind of a sciencey person. Um, I need some new language for this. So it really sent me down this rabbit hole of looking into quantum science, quantum physics. I interviewed a number of quantum physicists, um, mumbling their names together: Fred Allen Wolf, Dean Radin, Ahmet Ghazwani, or three that I just remember off the top of my head. I asked all of them the same thing, sort of like the same line of thinking that Lynn McTarget ended up doing with her books, right?
Mhm.
Where is our consciousness? Like, where is it literally located? And the answers kept coming back the same. Well, we have this idea. Consciousness is in your body. Consciousness is out of your body. Your consciousness is literally everywhere in a timeless space or at a spaceless time. It's a very difficult idea to kind of wrap your head around. But I got the feeling like this is where I was. I went into that space. How the heck did I manage to get in there? So I pieced it together. And I realized that eventually this is a technique that really is fundamentally very simple. It's something that we're already built in to do. Um, it has three components to it. The first is guided daydreaming. And what I mean by guided daydreaming is letting your imagination go. And if you think about whenever we daydream, and certainly you would know this with hypnosis, but whenever we daydream, we kind of lose track of where we are, even
Hmm.
who we are. Time goes away, our external circumstances go away. It's like we're still doing the thing, we're folding the laundry or driving or whatever it is, but another part of us is in a very different location. We're like bilocating. At a certain point, you lose track of it all. And then you whip back and you come back together. It's built into us. Science still doesn't really know why we end up daydreaming. It's one of those mushy fields that they can't quite explain.
Hmm.
But I started to develop some theories of my own. You use this guided daydreaming to end up in what I discovered was called the flow. Dr. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, uh, father of positive psychology, he kind of coined that term decades ago to describe a state of optimal brainwave in enhancement, entrancement, where everything is flowing and smooth. There is no resistance, nothing is getting in the way. It is sort of like perfection. And he was, applying it to very practical things as a good scientist would, like, let's see if we can make this golf swing better by going into flow and feeling the state of, what does the swing feel like? I said, but what if I don't do it with something physical around me like that, like a
Hmm.
skill or a hobby? What if I do it with manifesting?
Mm.
What if I do it with my spiritual communication?
Hmm.
What if I do it in kind of the same way that I would normally have prayed, but I'll
Yeah.
do this instead?
Hmm.
So I released into this flow space, which started to show me a lot of different characteristics. Um, Flow, by definition, is pure ease and lack of resistance. You've got
Hmm.
resistance here and you've got flow here.
Yeah.
I said, all right, that feels a lot like universal alignment, right? We all
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
alignment. What is that?
Yeah.
And we can kind of sense there is no resistance. It is perfect and right, and there's a movement to it. There is a motion. There is a growth-oriented expansiveness to it. So those are two pieces. And the third piece is, well, what do you do when you're here? Like, great, I'm here. That's cool. Now what? I realized at that point that the one language that I felt the most response with was the language of emotion,
Hmm.
the feeling state.
Yeah.
Not the words I saw, not the imaging. And again, back then, when people manifested, they often said, okay, you have to imagine the color of the door and the numbers by the side of the door and the roses that grow around the door, this little cottage that you're creating, all like make it as real as possible. And I realized when I was there, I don't want to do that because I'm in a place with so much potential right now. It's like where life and the universe is literally fusing together and putting, braiding, weaving together all that's happening next for me in all my next hours and minutes and days and years. Why would I just give it one thing? Why not instead say, feel I live in a house that I absolutely adore. It is incredibly affordable for me. Every day is sunshine. Every day is safety. Every day I just thank grace and God and all it is that I'm here. I am the luckiest person on earth. I love this place so much. Then life can possibly look at 5 or 10 or 15 or 30 different houses that would fit that bill. So I said, okay, I'm going to talk to it. I'm going to emote to it. And that really then started to dovetail into my whole practice of manifesting because I realized, manifesting is about telling the future where you're going, what you want.
Hmm. Hmm.
Most of the time, we're all responding to things that happened in the past,
Yeah.
all the time. So we go in there and we do what I call pre-sponding or pre-acting. We're not reacting or responding anymore. We are creating these emotional landscapes or energetic blueprints, as I call them, describing it over and over and over and over every time we go in and do this 5 minute, 15-minute technique. When we are in a space like that and creating something, every time you're recreating it and doing it again, it gets stronger. It becomes more real. And so that's basically the heart of it. I'll
You know
stop now
what?
because I
I
realize
love
I'm
it.
rambling on.
I know you're not. This was perfect. This was the perfect explanation. I got so many validations in a way, and it really, when you talk about the emoting, like when you talked about not necessarily needing to be specific about, what exactly, because you're limiting yourself.
Yeah.
And I've always, for me personally, I've always taught to be specific just because that would help you to connect to the emotions a little
Yeah.
bit more. But I get it, how the way that you're doing it is like, well, this is just perfect for me. So you're still giving a little bit of specific, but it's more about specifically how you want to feel. And,
Yes.
like this, you just, and you're connecting with this reality and connect and creating this over and over again. And I just love it. And it reminds me of like that was the exact thing that I did. How you explain that, that's exactly how I manifested my soulmate.
Mhm.
And over like a 90-day process, is like I just kept going back to it. I just kept going back to this blank faced person in my mind and having a relationship with him. And,
Yeah.
and letting that relationship like kind of unfold in my mind. Like every time I go back to it, there was like just a new something else. It was like my little relationship in my mind, complete no name, complete no face, just, and then in 90 days, it happened.
Yeah.
It happened to be my husband that, I celebrated my 16-year anniversary with earlier this year.
Congratulations. I love that. Yeah, that's perfect. I always say that we're not chasing things, we're chasing emotions at the
Hmm.
end of the day.
Yeah.
And we just line up a series of things that we hope will make us feel a certain way. So we line up, you say, I want a relationship. Okay, that's a thing. Why do you want the relationship? Because I want to give myself to someone else and I want them to give to me. I want feelings of trust. I want feelings of security. I want feelings of being admired and feeling good about myself. I
Hmm.
want to know someone has my back, right? So what we're ultimately looking for are what I call emotional endpoints. And
Yeah.
every single thing that we try to create, if you to go back to the house, you want a nice house? Why do you want a nice house?
Hmm.
Because then I will be safe and warm and my family will be happy. Well, why do you want that? Well, if I'm safe and warm and my family's happy, then we can pursue other things in life, bigger dreams than just our foundational stuff. And why do you want that? Because if I'm pursuing bigger dreams and I have the freedom and the bandwidth to do that because my physical security is assured, then I get to experience more of who I am and maybe what my soul's calling is. And why do you want to do that? Because that would make me feel incredible. Like I aced life. Like that's your emotional endpoint.
I
You
love
think the
it.
house is just the piece that's supposed to get you there. And it also explains why, we've all made so many things in life. We've had cars and we've had clothes and we've had jewelry and we've had everything. We get things and then we say, and then there's always another thing.
Yeah.
Right? So the thing is never the end point. The thing is
Mm-mm.
just something that you're using along the way to reach certain emotional states. So when I manifest, I go straight to the emotional state. And like you said, I may clarify that it's in a certain arena of my life. Like, my health. Okay. Right now I feel robust, gorgeous, just wildly vibrant health, mental health, physical health. Why? Because when I'm feeling that, I can do anything. There's no limits. I feel emboldened and I feel passionate and I can pursue things and I can be me completely without any fear or without anything pulling me down. That's how my health feels to me.
Yes. And I want
Okay?
to I want to make a point too, that about, and this just kind of travels over onto my end of things, when I help people with meditation and hypnosis, there's a lot of people that I don't sell subliminals, okay? And I
Mhm.
also advocate for not falling asleep during hypnosis. Okay.
Yeah.
And there are so many people out there that say, oh yeah, you can fall asleep and your subconscious mind is taking it in. It might be, but this is the juice that actually makes it work. It's the emotion. And how are you supposed to feel emotion if you're sitting there snoozing away while listening to these affirmations? You've got
Mhm.
to feel it. And that's the whole point of it all. I really believe that. And so I think you've nailed it with the flow dreaming. And one other thing I just wanted to ask you about this because it just came up, and sometimes like, we're guided to ask certain questions. So it came up. So sometimes I have found that obviously, like the harder you're trying to accomplish something, the further you're kind of pushing it away because you're trying hard and you're stuck in that like chasing, and that doesn't feel good, right? And it just feels like anxiety, it feels like worry, it feels like stress. But I've also found that sometimes even like not necessarily feeling all jazzed up and excited and just having just a subtle momentary like glimpse at like, ooh, I think this is about to happen, or I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm about to step into. And it's just like a random subtle occurrence, and then that thing happened.
Mhm.
Can you like, is that a realm that you understand or deal in, like this subtle, I call it like just the subtle state.
The subtle state. Ah, gosh, there's a lot of different ways to go with that. Um, on the one hand, so I talk about emotions like crayons in a box.
Yeah.
Every single one does something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
You actually just described an emotion, which is confirmation,
Mm-hmm.
abject, total knowing. It's a soft, subtle, there's no fireworks around it. It's just like, I know this.
Mm-hmm.
That is a communication. That is a signal. That is more yeses and confirmation in one little bit
Yeah.
than spending hours trying to crave and get that feeling going because it's so solid. And you know it's solid because it feels incredibly real.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reach. You're not reaching for it. You're not trying to get it. It's not out there. It's already happened and it just happened.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you are manifesting based just on that alone. Now, another way of looking at this is in the world of flow, in the world of energy, I discovered that when I really started doing this practice years ago, I had a really strange side effect in the beginning because I was continuously going into this expanded state, pouring in tremendous amount of emotion, generally around things that had not yet happened. But I was giving the emotional impression inside my body that they have happened. Because again, the universe doesn't know what you want unless you give it a very clear blueprint for it. So I'm telling this is how I feel. If I feel this way, then certain things will happen to match how I'm feeling. So here's
Mm-hmm.
the blueprint, read it, and you go make the stuff. That's when I discovered again this weird phenomena. I call it like the little slippery edge of time, the
Mm,
fuzzy edge.
the fuzzy
I
edge.
get this, yeah, I get this sense that, imagine like you and I right now we have flows of energy and being, from ancient times to birth to we're both moving through time exactly the same way. And we've come together and we kind of braided our energy together right now. And we'll leave at some point when we're done. And yet, you will always be part of me, and I will always be part of you
Oh,
because
that's
we've
so
had this
beautiful.
experience. Yeah, so be careful who you hang out with. Your mom was
Yeah.
right.
For sure. Oh my goodness.
So we're having this overlap, this moment that really embeds and becomes us because anything we experience goes into our collective experience, and I'm experiencing you. So if all of these little lines of energy, or call them fate, I don't call it fate really, just more like all the stuff is being set up. Like later on today, stuff is being set up now. And the reason I have faith in this is because if we didn't have this sort of organizing principle, we would literally be floating in molecular chaos right now. I mean, nothing would be physical and solid. Things would be changing constantly, shape or dimension. Yet there is an organizing influence locked into time, and it is helping this braid of possibilities come together. Sometimes when you're doing a lot of energy work or work like this, you kind of time gets a little slippery on the edge. So I was at this point where I was noticing like, in half an hour my mom's going to call. I just know it. And again, it's that moment of certainty. It's just that absolute, yep, she's calling in half an hour. How do I know that? What can I do with that? I would go to the grocery store and I'd say, you know what? It's going to be $194.26. And the guy says it's $194.28. I go, missed it by two. And it's just, it was the weirdest darn, it still happens.
Yeah.
But what it tells me is things are, some things are so close to budding that you can already see them and sense them. And time is a lot more slippery and funny than we actually realize. Now, if I could only do this 5 years ahead, that would be amazing, but I can't.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. The theory, I don't know if this is kind of what you're talking about, but
Mhm.
essentially that it's all happening right now. Like this is
Yeah,
just our way of organizing it for
yeah,
ourselves, like to experience it on this stretched out timeline. But the past, the future, the present, it's all right here. And we can
exactly.
experience any of it right now. And if you don't want to experience the past, I was just on a webinar earlier and talking about, limiting beliefs and money blocks and things like that. And, people are just like still like, well, my mom used to say this, and it's like, okay, so, that's not happening right now. That's
Yeah,
not happening right now. And, so we get to actually create from a blank canvas at any point in time.
yeah, absolutely. When when people are locked into certain ways of believing or thinking, I always remind myself included,
Hmm.
um, if I don't change my mind and have new beliefs next week, next month, next year, then what I've decided is I know everything and I no longer have anything more that I need to learn, understand, deepen, or open up.
Mm.
Which isn't it's a weird thing because it says everything I believe now, I hope is a little bit wrong in the future.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or maybe not wrong, but maybe not as expanded or as developed or as deep as it will be at some point. So I'm always keeping this idea that my beliefs that I'm holding now, I'm holding them because they're either working for me or not working for me.
Yeah.
Even the ones that are not working for us, we're often holding because some part of us will not let them go. We're having, I always say, it's better to be in the crummy now, the crummy known, than the scary unknown. It's
So
not. It's
true.
not better. It's not better.
No.
But we often tell ourselves that. And we have a whole list of reasons. I call them rationalizations, justifications, explanations. It's very comforting for us to say to ourselves, I know that I am not being as successful right now because this, and this. Great, great. You know that. Wonderful. Now what?
Now
And
what?
they're like, well, well, I mean, that's just how it is. Like, then you've just locked yourself there. You've just locked yourself in. As soon as you're willing to say that's not how it is, then we're going to start moving again. So I'm always asking us to strip away any rationalizations that we come to, and especially the ones that seem so watertight. And I
Hmm.
hear this a lot, like, it's just not this life for me to have a partner.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
I have to do more work on myself before I'm allowed to have XYZ, a partner, wealth. I have to work off a debt, karma. We have a lot. I mean, these are big ones because
Hmm.
what we're saying then is not only is the power not in my hands, it's actually in something greater than my hands, the universe's hands. I have a pet pa passion, which is looking for patterns and blocks,
Yeah.
right? So I have like, I could write a book, every chapter is a new one I'm discovering.
Yep. Yep.
And what that means is often discovering where are you leaking your power? Who is
Mm.
holding the power? And when we say the universe is holding the power because it says, I can't have a partner this life. And I'm like, how did you come to that? Because I haven't had a partner yet. So I had to come up with some defining reason that I could no longer push against because I got tired and sad pushing against it. I'm like, well, let's just throw that one away.
Yeah.
Let's just say a partner could step in any single moment. There's nothing more you need to do. You don't have to grow anymore. You don't have to heal anymore. You are perfect right now. What if you started holding that?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then the power is suddenly back into you. So I'm always saying, who's holding the power? Like often in our relationships, I will feel good if my husband only starts doing this, stops doing this, starts managing our money better. If I stop, if right. And it's often I can't feel the way I need to feel until someone else does something that gives me permission and a reason to react that way. We wipe that away. This is all for me part of manifesting. Manifesting for me is very much a long game. It's not
Hmm.
something where I sit down and do a little goofy thing for 15 minutes and voila, I just did magic. It's not like that. It's as I change who I am inside, the world is forced to shift around me. I always call the world a hall of mirrors, house of
Yeah,
mirrors at the carnival.
yeah,
It is reflecting me. So I can try to change things outside me, but they don't stick because it's still going to reflect me. All the
absolutely.
work has to be done here, all of it. Then the world is forced to reflect you in a different way. So for me, I want to say I am independently feeling comfortable and happy with my finances. And I am standing strong in this partnership to help them go the way I want and need them to go. And I feel that, and I am full in and committed, and I know this is happening, and I know it's possible, and I will say and do whatever I need to say and do to make this happen or to
Absolutely.
participate in this happening.
We are so on the same page. We're so in
Yeah.
alignment on this because, I think ultimately, if we just even got rid of the word manifesting, it's really a
Yeah.
personal growth thing, It's
Yes.
really about just growing into alignment with whatever it is that you want. And the reason why you want those things, in my opinion, is because you've already glimpsed at the future because it's all happening right now. So you've already
Mhm.
glimpsed. You're not, feeling that reality right now. So as soon as we step into that reality, as soon as we stop belaboring about all of the things that are working against you and that are out
Mhm.
there that are holding you back, and the government and the job and your boss or whatever it is that's keeping
Mhm.
you stuck from having what you want. And then it is a kind of a funny thing because we have it so backward, that um, you know, uh, you have to have the thing show up
Yeah.
before you're willing to be happy. And but then the truth is that that thing isn't actually going to make you happy.
Exactly. It's
You
like
know, so
a it's like a Buddhist
but being
koan.
happy is going to help you to have that thing. And then it's a growth process.
Yeah. It's I call it riding the center of the teeter-totter.
Mm,
Okay?
hmm.
Because we say I can't feel this way until that happens. If I feel that way and it hasn't happened yet, then aren't I just faking it? I'm like, you're not faking it till you make it. You're actually communicating. You are, if you don't show and display a deep-rooted, 100% committed feeling, that is a template. That is an architectural blueprint. You can't build a house if you don't have a blueprint. You'd end up with a hot mess out there. I mean, you'd have 15 bathrooms and one bedroom and no roof. You build a sketch of what it is so that the material world knows what to respond to.
Yeah.
So there's nothing fake about that.
No.
The holding it in your mind is, but if I feel that I have $1 million and then I go out and act like I have it and spend myself into debt, that isn't that wrong? I'm like, yeah, that's wrong. You know why? Because what you're doing then is you're saying, I have it. Now I'm going to act like I have it, knowing I still don't have it, but I'm going to do things to unravel the having it. Right. So it's a perfect balance. You get a little Buddhist here, right?
Yeah.
You have desires because that's what manifesting and frankly growing as a human is, one desire after another that we're trying to
Hmm.
fulfill.
Hmm.
At the same time, you want to have a lack of desire, right? You want to put that down and say, this is what I want, but right now I'm content with where I am.
Yeah.
So I have no desire where I am right now. I'm existing, I'm being, I'm feeling, but I also have desire. And it's that holding both states simultaneously that I think is the long game again trick to this whole process. because
Yeah.
the inner contentment that I'm feeling right now is what the world is mirroring off me right now, every day, every second. If I'm hungering and hoping and trying to manifest something, and then the rest of the time feeling like, when's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? When's
Yeah.
it coming? Basically, all the good work I just did creating that template, I just took a big Sharpie and I just drew all over it. And like, nah, because now what I'm saying is it's not here, it's not here, it's not here, it's not here.
Right, right. That's is so true. I mean, it's not like you just sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to perform my 15-minute manifesting ritual, and then the rest of the time I'm going to, act like I don't have it. I mean, th this is, to me, it's like it's something that you want to, put yourself into that state as much
Mhm.
as you possibly can all day long.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the not necessarily acting as if you are a millionaire, for example. Um, what would you say to somebody who wants to be a millionaire and they need to feel like a millionaire? And are there any actions that a person would take, to embody that, fully embody and embrace that state? Like,
Yeah.
let's just break it down into like that being a goal. Let's just say that is something somebody wants to do. They want to make $1 million a year in their business or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
how would you coach them? What would you suggest that they do?
Yeah. First of all, I love coaching entrepreneurs. I have created so many flow dreams around getting clients and, having a full workload and having everybody show up at your doorstep wanting you and your services. So it's one of my, again, pet favorite areas.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to back up and just, you mentioned a 15-minute process. I'm going to answer that and then I'm going to answer the other one. Whenever you're doing a practice, say meditation, they've shown that your brain waves change and you actually create new neural pathways. Your body, your emotional state, your physical self is changing in response to the practice you're doing. You go to the gym, lift weights, every single day you do, your arms get a little bit stronger. They have to, it has to change. When you're doing flow dreaming, sometimes I call it emotional reconditioning. Because when I am in that state of, I have all of the freedom and safety that a millionaire has, I have all of my needs met to a point of overflow. Okay, I'm feeling this and I'm creating this. That is the same as going to a physical gym, but I just went to the emotional gym. I just added that into me. So one of the driving things to go back again to how did this all start was everybody used to say, keep your thoughts in the highest vibration, stay in alignment, stay high vibe. And I'm like, how can I possibly do that? I have two little tiny kids in preschool and I am working, this 10-hour work days, and there's no way I can just keep my thoughts in the right place. I need an actual thing I
Yeah.
can do. So in that sense, this practice is sort of like yoga.
Yeah.
There's a physical aspect to it. The actual practice, you do it every day, it changes you. There's also the philosophy behind it, the bigger picture of what it really means to do the physical aspect of it. So I've been practicing the physical aspect of it every day for 25 years. This means that I've been able to remake literally multiple different parts of my being. The lack thinking, the scarcity thinking, I went in for years and I said, I don't have that anymore. I don't need to feel that way anymore. I'm going to practice trust. Every time we practice something, it becomes us. So all the things that I practice have become me more and more and more and more and more. And then life gives me opportunities to display that trust or see how far along I've come with that confidence or whatever that I've created. So let's say you're doing this practice and you're wanting to become a millionaire. Okay, first of all, what are the emotional endpoints? Is what's the money going to do for you? Well, some people will say it's going to give me freedom. I can retire. I don't have to worry anymore. I can pursue my own passions and interests. Some people will say it's going to give me safety and I will feel like I don't never have to worry anymore. And I
Yeah.
can take care of the people that I'm committed to taking care of. Like, wonderful. Let's practice those feelings. I'm so safe and secure. I love how I spend my time. All of my needs are met. I have more than I need to overflow, and not only just now, but in perpetuity, every day, the rest of my life. Long, happy decades of having it and never losing it. It's just part of me now. In such a strong way, it'd be like trying to turn my blue eyes brown. It's just me. It's just, it's part of me. This is who I am. So that would be some of the energy work we'd start with. So
Hmm.
again, I've talked a little bit about duality,
Yeah.
right? For all the resistance, if there was 100% resistance and 100% ease, flow is 100% ease.
Hmm.
So along similar lines, there's up and down, and there's light and dark, and there's forward and backward. We also have non-physical action and physical action.
Hmm.
So I'm encouraging people, do your non-physical action. Most people never do it at all, unless they're getting some hypnosis done or they're doing some flow dreaming, right? Otherwise, they
Exactly.
don't do any non-physical action. It's all action, action, physical, physical, physical. So I say, if you're not doing non-physical action, you need to get that going right now. Imagine if you're running, but you only have one leg. You're, you're hopping, you're not going very far. So when the two are working together, that's where the magic is happening. Now, you can't just do the non-physical action. We all know people who are like that too.
Yeah.
Wishers and dreamers. If wishes were horses, dreamers would fly or something like that. I don't, and all they do is they wish and they think and they hope and they wait.
Hmm.
So good at visualizing and feeling and hoping and wanting. Then the other side are the grinders, the A types, the hard work pays off. If I just do this, I'll get that.
Oh, I feel called
Transactional.
out.
I'm a Virgo too. I know. Okay. So those are the action oriented people.
Yes.
And I say, figure out which one you are and let's get some balance going here. So you're going to take inspired action because as things show up that you are non-physically creating, I need you to dive and leap in.
Yeah.
And some of those things, most of those things are going to be things that are very unknown and very unfamiliar to you. Do you know how I know that? Because if they were known and familiar, you've already done them and they didn't get you where you wanted to go by default.
Hmm.
When the weird thing shows up, when the thing that you're kind of nervous or scared about, when the thing you're not sure if that's the right thing to do that one. Do those.
Hmm.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Because I imagine life is trying to line up the right stuff.
Yeah.
Well, first they're going to clear the table of the stuff that you've already been creating that you don't want, but it's still
Hmm.
all there in front of you. Remember those
Hmm.
lines of fate weaving together? Well, I was doing stuff yesterday and last year that have loaded me up with what I have in front of me now.
Hmm.
So I might take some action, getting rid of some things that I just know I don't want. Clearing the checkerboard or the Scrabble. Scrabble's even better. I used all my letters. Give me a new set of letters, right?
Yeah.
So you start to get more and more opportunities that focus more and more into what you're actually trying to do. But you have to keep taking letters off in order for the new, more appropriate things to flow in.
Ooh,
Very rarely
that's a great
does the
analogy.
yeah, very rarely does the most perfect thing show up all at once right away. Sometimes that will happen, and I call that the elephant leaning on the door effect.
Yeah.
As in, you've wanted something for a long time, but you haven't done that one thing that opens the door. Meanwhile, life has wanted you to have it. Everything knows that is your next step and your next place of being. It's leaning on the door and it's just waiting for you to turn the knob, and
Yep.
then it all rushes in. And
Yeah.
people have had that experience too.
It's almost like a puzzle. You're putting together, like you have there's the big picture and you have to keep taking these little these steps into the unknown and grabbing another piece. But I loved your Scrabble analogy to get all the new letters that you haven't used yet. These are great analogies. So, we've we've already spent about the 45 minutes that we normally spend here. So I want to start to such I could talk to you for hours because I just love this
Yeah.
conversation. I'm getting so much juice out of it.
Mm.
But I want to just dive to the most juiciest question that I could possibly think of, and then we'll kind of turn it over to what can people do? Where can they find you? So, what would you say is like the number one biggest thing that is stopping people from reaching their next level of success in, manifesting the life that they really want?
Fear,
Yeah,
honestly, fear.
yeah.
Um, and fear has its kissing cousins are scarcity and lack.
Yeah.
The three of them tend to show up all together at the door at the
Were
same
you
time.
earsdropping on my webinar earlier? We talked about all of that. We talked about clarity,
Yeah,
self-doubt, scarcity, and
yeah,
the fear of failure.
yeah. So if I look at fear in general as just a blanket emotion that can be poured in any different bucket, usually the thing that we want that we can't reach, there is a fear getting in the way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And our job is to discover who we are when we approach that fear, hold that fear, and embrace that fear.
What are people afraid of? What is the fear that they have?
Well, remember how I said we're either running toward an emotion or running away from one?
Yeah,
Fear is the one that says, I'm going to run away from those emotions.
yeah.
If I try this, I'll lose money, fail, won't be able to eat, I'll be in pain, I'll disappoint myself and my family. Those are icky emotions. I am
Oh,
not going to risk those.
yeah.
If I try to lose weight again and fail again, I'm going to have an even worse feeling about myself. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to try that anymore. If I try to do something and the universe once again seems to whack me in the face and tell me you can't have that, I'm going to erode and lose just a little more trust in the universe and my higher power. And I can't afford to do that. So we really have to examine, where is fear showing up? And there's two kinds of fear. There is a fear that says, don't do that because it's actually very painful and unhealthy and harmful. And that fear is an obvious fear. It is, don't run across the freeway. Um, don't jump off a cliff without a parachute. Like it's a visceral fear. But most of the other kind of fears are really fears of feelings that you're trying to manage not having.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes your goal to the extent that you end up reaching a layer of stuckness that you can't get out of. So a part of you at that point has to say, I'm going to embrace this fear. Okay, I may risk disappointing myself again. I may risk having the universe not support me one more doggone time. But here's the thing. Trust is made to be repaired. I have a saying. In fact, from my book, Stuff Nobody Taught You, I have a whole chapter on this. Your heart is meant to repair itself. Your trust is meant to continuously be broken and repaired. It's a different way of looking at the world. Normally, we do everything in our power to avoid disappointment, to avoid heartbreak. But might hear another metaphor. I love my metaphors. Disneyland, Disney World, everybody loves Disneyland. Crowds come in, they wreck the place. Their sticky fingers are on all the rides. There's little paper bags blowing across the grass. All the flowers are mashed down from the kids' feet stomping on them. All that damage happens because people had such a darn good day.
Yeah.
Whenever you're living, you are going to break things. It
Mm.
comes with the
Hmm.
territory. If you're not
Hmm.
breaking something right now, you're in a holding pattern. What happens at night? All the gardeners come out at Disneyland and they spend all night long with their big lights, patching things up, cleaning things. And I know this because my husband actually worked on a book for Disneyland where he talked to all the gardeners, got to see this happening. It was awesome. In the morning, it's like new. And they know what's going to happen and they plan for it. They do it every day. Think about your heart. Your heart takes in oxygen and blood, right? It feeds you, nourishes your cells, but it also cleans up all the debris and the cellular debris in your body. And it pumps it through the heart and it pumps it out and through the liver and out we go. Your heart is already saying to you every day of cleaning up the breakage in your own body. You can trust me. We will clean up everything. And the more we do, the more you'll gain trust in the process. And the next time you're fearing that negative emotion, yes, some are very, very painful, but your relationship to that pain will change. And then you start to become more of the person who says, that was painful, you're right. But it's gone now. And now this new beautiful thing has sprung up in its place. This this new $1 million that I'm now able to step into and confidently receive because I went through the fear of not being good enough. And maybe I even felt not good enough for a little bit, but I kept doing it and I kept knocking on that door until it opened. So there's a real, um, this isn't something people have to jump into all at once.
Right.
But if you start shifting your mindset that way, you
Mhm.
discover an immense inner power that could just really propel you into just about anything,
Yeah.
anything you want to make or create.
Anything that you want, it just sounds like at the end of the day, anything that you want, I mean, it's all available to us. We have to be willing to embrace the discomfort that,
Yeah.
it might require us to take those physical actions and embracing as much of the positive uh, mindset and the positive emotions that allows us to rewire, and feel and experience. So this has been a lovely conversation. I want to give listeners an opportunity to connect with you and all the things that you have. So I'm going to turn it over to you to just let viewers know, listeners know where they can connect with you, what you recommend their next step should be to get into this flow state and take it away.
Thank you. So I always call flow dreaming a bubble bath for your mind because of all the practices you can do, we're generating just heaps and tons of positive emotion. Like it's just sugaring it up in there. So the first thing you can do is go to the website. I give two free flow dreams to everybody. One is financial abundance,
Mm,
and another one is instant alignment. And the one helps you get into that feeling of total universal alignment where everything is easy. That's one of my favorite phrases. Everything is easy. Let's
mm,
make everything feel easy. Why not? Because if it feels easy, you're going to put even more of yourself into it. You're actually going to double down and work harder when something is feeling easy because you're going to go faster than when you have resistance. So, instant alignment does that, gets you right on track with your universal direction, your purpose, all of it. Financial abundance is so people can actually start to feel what that's actually like inside them when they are that being. I also have a free series of YouTube videos that teaches in much greater detail how to flow dream, and these are all free. So I've always taught the whole process for free. And like meditation, you can flow dream without my audios completely on your own. Or just like guided meditations, you could have guided flow dreams where I've done some of the heavy lifting. And I'm telling you, I'm taking you into the daydream. And then I'm cutting you loose in there and saying, now go feel it and make it, be in
mm.
this place with me. So I have 400 about different flow dreams that I've recorded on all kinds of things, from buying a new house to making money and getting a new job to really deep things like healing my heart from a relationship, growing inner self-confidence. Um, you can manifest new parts of your own personality just as easily as something outside of you. So I would go there. I would pick up some of those meditations and, excuse me, or flow dreams. Um, I would do the YouTube. I have an app as well, where people can start browsing through, and I also have the tutorial free in the app. And lastly, I have a mastermind, which is pretty fun because then you get to Flow Dream Live, and I do a workshop every month where we focus on a particular area of ourself and our life. And we go through all the flow dreaming around it. We do other forms of ritual, journaling, reflective. It's kind of like a spiritual church for your manifesting soul.
Love it.
So it's the mastermind, and it's got included with it 36 on-demand courses that I created over the last 3 years for my groups. So that's a really, really wonderful way to step in and like get your questions asked, answered and see what happens. But those are the top ones. I've got a ton of stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. That is great. That is all amazing content. I'm actually going to download it because, of course, I want to flow dream as well now, and and get some do it on a guided way. And so that sounds amazing. I'm going to check out your YouTube channel and
Yeah.
watch some of your different processes. And the mastermind sounds amazing. And you've been a lovely guest, an amazing guest. I just
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing work, and I love your analogies and the way you explain everything. And I think this is a really, really wonderful process of helping people to manifest their dreams. So thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you for being a wonderful guest on the Power of Your Mind podcast.
Thank you, Victoria. It was a fabulous and fantastic conversation. I just love your energy, and I'm so delighted to be here.
Thank you.